Why have we still got no announcement about the Orville? Is it going to return? Welcome to Scitrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. Well, I've told you a few times now that I'm pretty confident the Orville is going to return, and that actually there have been negotiations, and that's been confirmed by a few of the actors from the series, even Seth MacFarlane himself, that conversations have been going on, but there's no decision been made. Now, I've told you a few times exclusively in first that there were negotiations regarding the Orville, but they wanted to bring it in at a much smaller budget than Horizons. The third season of the Orville, New Horizons, cost a bloody fortune. And even though it was very popular for Disney and Hulu, it maybe wasn't as popular as they were hoping. So even though they would love to bring the show back, it does have to have a more appropriate budget. Now, that has been negotiated, and apparently, I'm told they have an agreement between Seth MacFarlane and Hulu Disney for what that show would look like, for how much it would cost, and for when they would like to do it. So, why hasn't there been any announcement? Well, the real reason is twofold. For one, Seth MacFarlane is very, very busy. As a writer, he has a few upcoming projects. 5, in fact. He's doing the TED TV series. He's doing the screenplay and story for the new Naked Gun movie starring Liam Neeson. He's doing the Winds of War screenplay. He's still working on Family Guy, obviously, and he's got something called The Shrouded College that he's working on. So, very busy guy. He's also an actor. Go back to IMDb. He's obviously also a producer. He produces all these things. And he's also an actor with 2 upcoming projects. He's going to be apparently he's going to be in Star Wars Detours as Emperor Palpatine, which is a cartoon series. And he is going to appear in TED. So, busy man. Lots of work to do. But there is another big reason why we actually haven't had an announcement of this project. The writer's strike. So, there is a writer's strike coming up. If you're a regular Scitrek, you'll know I've talked about this in a couple of videos in the last week, talking about how this is holding up lots of projects. It's holding up Babylon 5. It's potentially holding up Stargate. It's holding up a million other things, to be honest, that we don't even know about. The reason is because production companies and studios are focusing on the things that are already in production. They want to get all of the scripts written. They want to get everything done so that if there is a writer's strike, they can continue filming, that it's not going to basically mean that Hollywood has to stop. Now, what you have to realize is back in the day when they used to do 22 episodes, series for everything was on networks and everything was massive. A lot of the writing continued on throughout the seasons. Star Trek: The Next Generation, for example, they were tapping away writing and then literally throwing the scripts out and they were filming the next day. That was how it worked. Babylon 5 was the same. I've seen J. Michael Straczynski talk about this repeatedly, about how he was basically writing one day and literally filming the next. It was the Wild West of how to make a TV series. That doesn't happen anymore. Scripts are developed. They're agreed by executives. They develop them over long periods of time. They rewrite, and then they film. Now, the problem for Seth MacFarlane is he writes a lot of his stuff, but he's a member of the Writers Guild of America. So he's going to have to go on strike. Now, you cannot announce that the Orville is coming if you have no idea when you're going to be able to make it. So they could release a statement to say, look, we really, really want to do season 4 of the Orville, but we have no idea when. The same problem really is for Stargate at the moment, that they want to announce this, but can't. Now, we're hoping that we're going to get an announcement of Stargate at July in San Diego Comic-Con, because hopefully by then, the strike, if it even happens, will be resolved. The last one lasted nearly 4 months, by the way. God, if that happens again. So simply put, that's why we have no announcement of the Orville, because they've got no idea when they'd be able to make it. Now, there are a lot of rumors going around that actually Disney are in massive financial issues. Hulu, they're supposed to be buying Hulu, which is just going to add to those massive financial issues. And that actually a lot of writers in Hollywood at the moment believe that actually producers and studios want the strike to go ahead because it'll give them an excuse to actually cancel lots of projects that the studios don't want to make or can't really afford to make. Could the Orville fall in that category? Well, if Disney or Hulu were to announce tomorrow that it will not be a fourth series of the Orville, it will upset Seth MacFarlane. He loves that show. He always wanted to make a Star Trek series. They wouldn't let him, so he made his own. He very clearly and very desperately wants to make this series. The fans would also go freaking crazy because this is one of those shows that people that when they are fans of it, adore it. There are plans to make a Galaxy Quest TV series, and I would argue, why bother? The Orville already exists. So other studios know how brilliant this sort of show is and how successful it can be. But if the studio have their doubts, which I think it's fair to say they probably do because they haven't announced it already, or if they think, actually, you know what, we would rather Seth MacFarlane focused on other things like Ted that will be more popular, that will have maybe a wider popularity, this would give them the perfect excuse to do that if the strike goes ahead. So they would be saving face. The fans, they can blame the writers so the fans can't get too angry. And probably more importantly, they can say to Seth MacFarlane, look, because of the strike, we can't go ahead. We wanted to, but too long has gone by now. Maybe some of the actors will have moved on. We also know that actually a lot of the actors' contracts ended at the end of season 3. That's quite common when they do a series like this, that actually the actors have to sign up just for 3 seasons initially. So that's going to be more expense for Hulu and Disney as well because they've got to sign all these actors up to contracts again. But actually on Twitter, etc., a lot of the actors say, that ain't a problem, I want to come back. And to be honest, you just rewrite things. Seth MacFarlane will just bring in new characters. It's a ship-based show, isn't it? People get transferred off and transferred in all the time. You just change things up. So again, that's not really an excuse that they could use. I just wonder if Hulu and Disney actually did get the opportunity to get out of making the Orville, though, and they could do it without upsetting Seth MacFarlane. They might take it. But guys, what do you think? Do you think as soon as this writer's strike thing is all resolved that we're going to get an announcement about the Orville? I'm 50-50. Do you actually think, though, and do you believe that the writer's strike could be used as a tool by the evil executives that I, for legal purposes, have to say that's allegedly evil, would use this excuse to cancel lots of projects so that then they would just simply blame the writers for it? I think probably. But guys, get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. And you can go over to patreon.com/Scitrek, where you get to see most of our new videos first. And for a small contribution each month that really supports the channel, you get to see it without the adverts. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.